My name is Audrey Lobo-Pulo, and I come to you from Blue Gum Reserve, Sydney, Australia. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Camaraygal People, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. I'd like to begin my reflections on the challenges that AI presents in our society by thinking about some examples from nature. Right here in this forest are many wildlife and plants, and there are so many interdependencies. Interdependencies between the soil, the insects, the birds, the reptiles, and the mammals. And if I were to introduce foxes into this ecosystem, many of these interrelationships would be disrupted. Likewise, AI is also disrupting many things and many systems in our society. But there is an added complication. You see, the nature and attributes of technology mean that we now have unprecedented reach, scale, speeds, and computational power. And what this means is, while the opportunities are unprecedented, the risks can also spread very quickly. This new ecosystem that we find ourselves in is unfamiliar to us, with new complexities. And so whereas in the past we've been able to look at solutions that address individual issues in society with varying degrees of success, this time we have to take a systems approach. We need to consider the consequences through many different contexts: health, education, technology, politics, environment. So the three questions that I've been pondering when it comes to AI, the first being, how is our perception changing? Now, a few hours ago, I spotted a common blue-tailed dragonfly. And what I didn't know was that these insects have a compound eye with 30,000 lenses. Whereas we can see 60 frames a second, dragonflies can see 300 frames a second. Imagine that data. Yet it is not that additional data necessarily on its own that allows the dragonfly to be able to adapt and survive and sustain itself in this environment. When it comes to AI, the questions I ask are, how is our perception changing as a result of AI? Who is doing the perceiving for us? In his book on mind and nature, the famous anthropologist and cyberneticist Gregory Bateson says that there is no objective experience and that all experience is subjective. And so with the data that we have baked in with subjective biases, what does that mean for the implications of how AI shapes our society? Whose biases are baked in? And how do we make sense of our world? The second question that I often think about is, where is the knowledge stored? I recently read that a honeybee has a memory of around 6 days, but that a hive can hold a memory for around 3 months. So where is the knowledge stored? Where is our knowledge stored? Is it stored in data on the clouds? Or is it stored within organization, in the tacit understanding and knowledge of the people within an organization? Can all knowledge be captured and measured? And if not, how do we find the balance and the right mix between knowledge that we are able to store and capture and knowledge that may be more intangible? The final question I have for you today is, what is resilience? The famous geophysicist Lobo-Pulo, who looked at and studied tectonic plates, noted that often it was the vulnerabilities in systems that gave it a capability of evolution, allowed it to be able to adapt to a changing environment. Now, I recently came across an AI application around facial recognition and how particular facial movements and gestures were being used to screen out applicants from a recruitment process. So how does this impact the resilience of an industry that is recruiting for efficiency and for a particular outcome? Where are the inefficiencies? And why is it that we focus so much on efficiency at the cost of building in new features and attributes into a system, or allowing for new attributes that enable a more resilient organization or a more resilient outlook?